Charlie. Thank you for
Hello.
being here today on the Sick and Sickening podcast.
Hello, Roxy. It's a pleasure to be here.
It's a pleasure to have you. So I've known you for a while now, right? And I've had the pleasure of knowing you for a while, and I love a lot of things that you do that we'll talk about in a bit. But there's a lot of people that maybe don't know you. So I was wondering if you could start off by telling me kind of what MS you have, and then basically how you was diagnosed with MS.
So I have RRMS,
Okay.
which is relapsing remitting MS.
Oh, so like, how did you learn that you had MS? Like, what was the first thing that you kind of felt was your MS symptom that kind of brought you to the doctor's surgery to be like, hey, like, look at me, what's going on here? And then it obviously would take you to your MS diagnosis.
Yeah. So back in like 2017,
Okay.
well, I was at college, right?
Yeah.
And I totally lost vision in my right, I think it was my right eye, and it just went completely blurred. And I was
Oh.
like, Miss, I can't see. What's going on? And she was like, "Oh, Charlie, don't worry about it. Just go sit down for like 5 minutes." And for some reason, it got better in 5 minutes.
Okay.
So I kind of just brushed it off as just something that happened.
Moment of madness.
Pretty much. And then I always seemed to be like really fatigued compared to my mates. I don't know what it was. I just felt like shit all the time. Oh,
Yeah.
sorry, I'm allowed to swear.
Of course.
Oh,
Of course.
cool. Fuck
I
yeah.
swear like a trooper.
Like, honestly, I don't know why. I always felt like there was something up with me. And I thought everyone felt like that. Because, yeah, like I thought it was because I was working on a building site
Ah, okay.
and you're like always tired.
Yeah, for early mornings, a lot of work, hard labor,
Yeah.
good money, but a lot of shit comes with it.
Yeah, most of the time it was hard labor, but not always. Yeah.
Okay, so what made you
That
from
was
that time when you felt the fatigue and then you had the double vision? Like when did you first end up in like a hospital being like, hey, like I need someone to like investigate what's going on with me?
okay. So the bigger symptoms started like in October 2020.
Okay, so a few years after then. That's a good few years after.
Yeah. It was from my first symptom till when it started to properly kick in. It was a couple years, definitely. Um, yeah, I was in Scotland and I felt so shit all the time. But everyone else was so like jolly and happy, so I just carried on. And then fast forward another month or two, and
Okay.
my mate and me were walking back from like a party, and
Yeah.
I literally just collapsed. My legs just stopped working,
Oh
and
shit.
I was laying on the floor. My mate and me were just laughing our asses off.
Were you drunk?
Oh, God. What do you think, Roxy?
Okay, so they was like, Charlie's well wasted right now.
Yeah, that's the thing. And another time when I was drinking, I fell over like 100 times in one night. And my mate was like, Charlie, what's going on? Why are you like this? And then, yeah, what was it? And then fast forward again to January 2021.
Okay.
I had just started my new job as a hospital porter.
Okay.
Fortunately, right? Because it's a hospital. And it was in the space of about 2 weeks. I remember I woke up one day and I could barely walk. And then I went to work at like 5 in the morning and I could barely like drive because my legs were like, bruh, what is going on? So, yeah, it was mad.
don't
And I
mean to
couldn't walk up
laugh.
the stairs. Oh my days.
I don't mean to laugh at all, but I like totally relate on so many levels of those feelings where your legs are like doing some whole other thing and you're trying to be like we need to do this and it's like no, we're doing that and you're like, are you fucking serious? And that stress, but you almost like when you're young, I guess, right? A lot of it, I think you deal with it with humour.
Oh yeah, big
And
time.
it's not that funny though, is it?
It's like that meme. Have you ever seen the meme where it's like, I'm fine, and it's like a dog, and everything's burning around it. That's
That
how it
is,
feels.
isn't that MS wrapped up in one meme?
Pretty much, pretty
Yeah.
much.
Honestly, it should be our meme. We should just own it.
Or
That.
should we do that?
Yeah, we
I
should do
think that
that.
can happen.
We can happen, and then maybe you could do some art around it, and then you can change it to one of your faces, but it's still the
Ooh,
house is on fire. There we are.
yes.
I gift you the gift of giving.
Thank you.
Okay, so you've gone to hospital, you've had a few investigations. Did you walk in and them go to you, oh, like we think you've got MS because of what you're saying, or they were like, let's go for some tests?
Nah, so I after the day at work when I couldn't walk, I went to Epsom Hospital
Okay.
and they were like, nothing's wrong with you. Go home.
No.
Yeah, I couldn't walk. I was like, what's going on? What do you mean there's nothing wrong with me? Oh my days. And then a week passed. I couldn't like walk up the stairs, literally. Uh, and then went to my local GP,
Okay.
and a man named Dr. Murray, legend, always. He was
One
like,
married to another, I'll take it.
yes, exact. Oh yeah, there you go. It's in the name.
It's in the name.
uh, uh, what happened? He
Dr.
just said to
Murray.
me, like, walks in, and straight away he was like, Charlie, just go to St. George's right now. So I headed
Okay.
off there in the car. Obviously, don't know why I said that. I got there, and then I spent 5 days in hospital in a bed, linked up to steroids, and then yeah, I'm not gonna lie, it was actually quite fun.
Fun? Oh my God. I do not
Yeah.
feel like that stuff was fun. I love that you found it fun though. Was it just like like a whole new world kind of vibe?
Yeah, do you know what? I always thought, who out of my old mates, is gonna be ill first, like
Ah,
really
okay.
ill, and then
It was
turned out to
you.
be me.
So you manifesting your own illness there, weren't you, Rowan?
I
Who's
think
gonna be
so.
ill first? It's just me, right? Someone's got to go. Just giving yourself all the energy. Well done,
Yeah,
Charlie.
literally, Roxy, literally.
Okay, so 5 days of steroids or steroids hooked up for 5 days, right? So then what did they do? Do they do an MRI? Do they do a lumbar puncture out? Or do they just go, oh, we think you have MS? Like, how did that work?
Hmm. They tried to get me to have an MRI,
Okay.
but my legs couldn't stop moving. Like they were like that,
Yeah.
constantly just kicking. Uh, I also had a lumbar puncture, but I didn't feel it like one bit at all.
Did you look?
I was just like on my side, and then they just done it.
Okay. Yeah, because I looked at the needle the first time and I've had a few of them and not
Yeah.
my friend.
I.
Not fun.
Mm-hmm. I've heard stories of people, and it sounds really painful.
It was, and they couldn't find the, because obviously you've had one, right? The entry point. They tried to find the perfect entry point, and obviously they must have found your entry point quite easily. So like,
Mm.
all power to you, or clap for that. But for me, they couldn't do that, so they had to keep pulling it out and putting it back in. Yeah, it was a bit brutal, but it's
That's
a story now
gruesome.
to tell you, right? Because if not, what would I be talking about? Hey.
Very true. Did you?
So,
So could you feel it like being pricked
mhm.
in? I didn't feel anything. Like it, literally
Was you
nothing.
sedated though?
No, I think my whole body was just numb.
Okay, so MS basically blessed you with the ability of feeling absolutely nothing. So it was an easier lumbar puncture than most. I love
You know
that for
what?
you.
That is a really good way of looking at it. I like
Yeah.
it.
And then obviously they must have tested your spinal fluid, right? Because obviously that's how they done like Olicona bands, test the spinal fluid. And then did they say straight away when they got those results you have MS, or did they say something else?
Well, it was when was it? One of the nights I was in hospital. A doctor came in,
Okay.
a neurologist, sorry, and he was like, he came down, sat next to me, put his arms on my bed, right, and was like, Charlie, I we think it's MS, but I don't know. Like, could be anything. So, but they said it most likely is MS. Yeah.
So did they then go on to treat you like you just had MS in hopes that it was MS and whatever they did would work, or did they say they had to do like further investigation?
Oh no, it was like it was pretty much instantaneous for me to get onto drugs
Okay.
because my I think my situation was quite dire. So they were like,
Ah, okay.
Charlie, just do it. Get on the drugs right now. Otherwise, it could end pretty bad.
Get on those drugs, hun. Okay, so basically they saw like an urgent need to basically do what they need to do for you and get it done ASAP. So ultimately they put you straight on drugs. And then what drug did you take first?
I was on one called ocrelizumab or
Okay, yeah.
Ocrevus.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
on that right now, yeah.
Oh, cool. How
And
you
how did that
finding it?
go? Oh, do you know what? I had spoiler alert, I had the infusion 2 weeks ago now.
Okay.
And there's parts of my body that weren't working in the right way previously.
Cool.
And
Okay.
actually now, arguably, I've regained a lot of strength. But honestly, not my speech, but a lot of strength back in my left side. It's still numb, like you know what it is with MS, like numbness and weird sensations, hypersensitivity. But
Yeah.
actually, like I never used to be able to like do that with my foot on my left side at all. Like, but I can actually do that, which is not
Okay.
been the case. It's not like super strong, but it feels more present than it ever did. So, and also my brain feels a little bit more switched on. It
Really?
was, yeah, it was a really bad hangover for a couple of days. Like I'd gone too hard at a party, but
Yeah.
I'm starting to feel like a little bit more like my internal self. So, fingers crossed, this
Yes.
is the way forward. But either
Okay.
way, it's still a little bit better than it was previously. So I'm grateful, you know?
That's so good. That is so
Mhm.
good. But
Enough
yeah,
about me.
see,
How was it for you?
not the best. I'm not gonna lie.
Ah, okay. So what happened?
So I got put on it, and I think it may be a bit better for a little bit. But then I was constantly like, I think I was having a relapse for like a year or something because I was just. So imagine my health when like my health was like this, then down, like down a bit, then
Yeah.
up, and then down below the earth, as far as you can go, all the way down to the center of the earth. That's where my health was
Shit.
after Octopus, unfortunately. But yeah,
Okay. So basically, like Ocrevus, you were such in a relapse state that Ocrevus couldn't even was not doing anything. Basically, like maybe it was arguably helping in the sense of maybe it would have been worse if it wasn't even like you weren't using it.
yeah,
However, you were in a state of relapse to the point of where like it really wasn't even scratching the surface.
nah, because I definitely started to feel better after the first like dose or something. But then my health like slowly and then immensely degenerated. Like
Okay.
I used to shake like this, and my head like, ugh. It was so mad, and I couldn't feel my legs, and my legs felt like they were just burning constantly. It was flipping insane. Oh my days.
Oh.
Yeah.
You're so young. Like, how old were you at that time then? Because you're young now.
uh, 22.
That's intense, isn't it?
Yeah. Crazy.
Uh,
It's like the last 3 years have just been wiped out through having MS, if you know what I mean.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Get that. Sadly, but true.
It's crazy.
Yeah. It takes it's your best friend that you hate because it took you on a bender, but you lost days. And you're like, I don't know if it was good or not. Like, I have no idea because I don't remember. Like, the fuck? Yeah, I feel that on so many levels. Okay, so Octopus didn't work.
Yeah.
What next?
I was asked if I wanted to have HSCT,
Okay, the big H.
the big H, the
Right.
biggest H you can ever think of.
And what was your initial reaction to that question?
Oh, do you know what? It's 2 years and 1 day since I went into hospital. Crazy.
Oh, well, happy anniversary, I think.
Thank you. It's been a good time.
Ah,
No,
good.
my initial reaction, I was just like, yes. As soon as I heard those 4 letters,
Did you know
yes.
about it before they said it, or?
So it's funny, right? The first time I was initially diagnosed, I met a man called Rob, who's also had HSCT. And that was the first man that I met who had MS.
Okay.
And then, like, now I've had it. It's kind of like, whoa, weird. But yeah. Oh,
So
yeah,
you,
also, from having Ocrevus, you had to, like, flush out your system of Ocrevus. So
yeah.
I was on Tysabri for like a month. That was that was pretty cool. I mean, whilst I was having Tysabri, I met people who've been on it for like 14 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so big up Tysabri. uh,
Okay. Yeah, because it's a trial and tested drug, right? So it's been around for a long time. Whereas
mm,
some of the other drugs like Ocrevus, very new, HSCT,
yeah.
and thing really like it. Obviously, HSCT as a concept has existed for a while, but in the realm of MS, maybe not so long. So okay, and then how long from that? Hey Charlie, do you want to do HSCT to Hey Charlie? Here's an appointment for HSCT. Did it take?
Okay, let me think back. Let me think back. I think July is when they told me,
Okay.
and then for some reason, so much shit got in the way. I got COVID 3 times in between when I was first asked to when I went in,
Shit.
but I kind of see it as a blessing, right? Because when I went into hospital, it was like during Christmas, so there wasn't many people there. Yeah, so it was kind of like you get more looked after, if you know what I mean.
So for you, basically, like you have, I won't say the ward to yourself, but arguably, if someone's knocking at your immune system at the highest level possible, there is a little bit of reassurance around there not being a lot of people around in that moment,
Oh no,
I guess. But
there
then could you
was
have people visit you?
only my mum, one person.
Okay. The most important person, I guess, right?
There you go. That is it. Yeah. I mean, to be
Okay.
honest with you, I wouldn't really want anyone else to come.
HSCT, for those who don't know, because some people know about HSCT, but they don't really know the journey through it. How long in hospital were you? Like, how long were you there for?
So for 3 weeks, I was in hospital,
Okay.
but I've heard people who've been there for like 2 months. So it doesn't seem that bad.
What did you do to deal with 3 weeks in hospital?
Hmm. I had my mum bought me my PlayStation in, so that kind of helped.
Fair.
Uh, I watched a lot of shit. Like, do you know Futurama?
Oh yeah, I love Futurama.
And whilst I was watching it, right, I found like so many connections between real life and Futurama. It was so weird. Like, do you know? Right, do you know Andrew Tate? Yeah,
Yeah.
there was something in one of the episodes about someone called Tate, and it just made so much sense to what was happening at this moment. At that moment, it was so weird.
I will say, right, when you have an illness and you spend a lot of time arguably by yourself and you have to find ways of coping and things to do around, especially the times where we have to sit back and just accept that we can't do things,
Yeah,
you start putting things together weirdly in your mind. And depending on like the person you are, it can be such an interesting period of time that we go through, right? Where we not only explore ourselves, but we look at
yeah,
links in the wider world. And obviously, in a minute, we're going to get to your artistic journey. but I guess as an artist as well, just the way your brain works
Mm,
really does make things like this very interesting, I think, in that moment.
mega,
Mm.
mega, mega. Because, yeah, some of the things that my brain connects are mad, absolutely barbaric. But
And has that always been what you've been like, or was that is something that's been happening as you got older through your journey?
I think I did in the past, but more so now when I've spent more time on my own, in my own head,
Yeah,
and just like, yeah, basically.
fair. Yeah. Do you feel like you know yourself more than you've ever known yourself?
Yes, without a shadow of a doubt.
Yeah. It's weird, isn't
Massively.
it? And you sound like you like what you know of yourself, which I love that. Like, when you spend a lot of time with yourself about who you are and you actually like that person, that's really, really rewarding. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's so chill. It's so chill. Because
Right. So,
before, can I say something?
yeah, of course.
Before, I used to like just drink and drink because I hated who I was.
Ah,
So
okay.
now I love it. So,
Okay, so interesting spoiler thing that I always say, right, is like the person I was before MS and the person I am now. I think the person I am now is way cooler than the person I was previous with MS. Not that I didn't have good qualities, right? Obviously, there is a foundation of the person that you are, clearly
yeah,
there in some form. But we do cope in the weirdest ways. And I feel like MS is like the brake in the car that just stops you. And you have to figure out, like, you're at this cross section of what are you going to do now?
yep,
And it can force you both sides. And it's like that fork in the road that you have to choose which lane you're going to go down. And I think a lot of people I've met in this moment and spoken to about MS have all kind of come to the same realization of like, I'm a bad person for this. Yes, I have an illness. Yes, sometimes it absolutely grounds me, and sometimes it's absolutely fucking shit. But arguably, I've met amazing people like yourself, and I've figured out my own capacity as a human being and the things that I can do and ways to work around stressful situations that maybe people that don't have illnesses don't even have to come to terms with or realize so quickly because it's not
yep.
something that's been presented to them.
Big time. Big time. Yeah.
I love that for you, and so young too.
All right. I didn't feel that young 2 years ago. I felt like a. Oh my days.
Do you feel
Yeah.
younger now though?
Roxy, I feel like I'm 16 again. I'm not gonna lie. It's so mad.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I love that. I love that. All right. Well, what would Charlie now say to 16-year-old Charlie then?
You will not believe what you're gonna go through, but just do it.
I love that. Just do it, right? Because really and truly, the person you've become is really cool.
Do you know what? I always say this every time I think about something bad that's happened, or something bad that I've done, or I don't know. I'm always like, but if that didn't happen, you wouldn't be who you are today. So, yeah.
100% agree with that. If we didn't take the risks or do the weird stuff, and sometimes arguably not the greatest stuff, because I've done some terrible stuff, like not to other people, but just to myself, really.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I
Um,
meant. Yeah, sorry.
and no, it's fine. I mean, you are who you are, and we love that. I wouldn't be me, and I wouldn't have discovered who I am today. And I'm not saying I'm perfect, because far from it, but I am an improved version of myself, as are you. So, Charlie,
Big
from
time.
all these emotions, this MS, and the way life has presented itself to you, you are an artiste. And I want to ask you how your journey as an artist and your MS have come together and inspired the work that you currently create.
Mm. So, when I was first diagnosed, yeah, I didn't know how to say how I felt, so I just started drawing faces of every day how I felt.
Okay.
Yeah. And then after that, I was like, oh, I really do love art. It's so cool. You can literally just make whatever you want. Yeah.
Is there okay, so two questions that can go back to back. Are they the faces of Charlie? And what was your first face?
They are the faces of how I felt. So I suppose they are Charlie. Yeah, in a way. But aren't we all just entities in a monkey's body?
We are vessels for consciousness for sure.
There you go. So the first one I done. All right, one sec. Okay, the camera's
Um,
backwards, so it's like if I hold it up to my right, it's on your left. It's so weird.
okay. Center it. Center it. Okay, cool. So for those of you that are audio listening, Charlie's holding up a yellow t-shirt with a face that's a bit of a greeny, bluish, pinkish hue that has a very funny face, two nostrils and big bulging eyes that looks like my anxiety or my intense
Ooh.
hangover after a while. It is very nice. It's very beautiful. So tell us about this face. What is it telling us?
Hmm. Okay, so what I do is I go around asking people what they see,
Okay.
and I like to just gather what what other people think, really, because it's cool to get to know people. Definitely, yeah. But
So
what this
it's a
means,
go on.
uh, what does it mean? Hmm. Actually, Roxy, what do you think it means?
It looks like my optic neuritis when I when I start having double vision, and also it also gives me a vibe of like when you get your diagnosis of MS and you're like, what the actual fuck, and then
Yep.
also the sleepless nights that come with that.
Ooh, yeah.
Kind of looks like that, but I like the yellow that it's on because yellow to me is a very positive color.
Okay.
And it pops quite nicely. So it's like almost, although whatever the manic insanity is,
Yeah.
actually there's a positive future, which I think works for you because that is exactly how you've created art. Like your art is a
Hmm.
positive outcome to the internal feelings that you're feeling living with MS, and this is a visual representation of that, and I love it.
That was so cool. Yeah, spot on.
Thanks.
I'd
I
say
didn't
like
study art for no reason.
I'd say just like anxiety, uh, and just coming to terms with some crazy shit.
Hey, it is some crazy shit, MS.
It truly
Okay.
is, right?
Do they have a name?
So this one's either Bogey Nose or Alien Man.
And can people buy him? Is he for sale?
Yeah,
Okay, well if you want Alien Bogeyman, holler at Charlie.
please. I, what my what
It's alright, MS mouth is always the worst.
literally, but it's actually much better than it was. Jeez, I could barely bloody talk at some point. That's crazy. Do you know I had to eat food in a wrap because I was so shaky?
I mean,
That's
wraps
so
are
mad.
fantastic, but ultimately sometimes you might want a steak. I mean, you can have a steak wrap, but still.
That's true. That's true. Sorry, what were we talking about?
We were talking about your art. It's all good. We're in a safe
Yeah.
space. I literally always talk, and I think we are highly relatable to the people listening to this right now. Um, so what
Uh,
are the themes and messages that you want to convey through your art to people?
oh, that was it. Yeah. So I want more people to understand invisible illnesses in a whole, and yeah, I've made a bunch of faces, and each one I'm trying to like gather information about which what face means what. But then
Okay.
it's all like subjective, right? Because someone might see something. Everyone sees something different. It's crazy. Like, hold on, let me show you one that's got loads of writing on it. Like all these people saying different shit.
Because art is subjective, as you know, Charlie. So every single person that's in that image has felt a different emotion. That's beautiful. It's like 1,000 faces of MS, but it
Ooh.
like portrays 1,000 different emotions. I guess I've only got maybe one or two questions left for you. And my first question is, can you share some specific challenges you face as an artist with MS and how you've overcome them?
Hmm. Yeah, I haven't really overcome it, but
Okay.
I want to do so much, yeah. But I get so fatigued, and then when I can't do it, like, oh man, I just want to do so much stuff, but then it's like a massive block. That's why I think it would be better for me to be with other people who are doing like creative stuff, and then it will like juice me up to also do it.
So you feed off energy, basically.
Yeah, I'd like even after the HSCT, I still do get fatigued. Uh, yeah, and then when I do, oh, it's so frustrating. It's so frustrating because I just want to make stuff all the time, but then I just want to like chill because I'm just like, ooh.
Do you have a process to know when to relax and to when to take time to yourself? No, same.
Not
It's hard,
really.
isn't it? Yeah,
Yeah.
I get that. I relate to that, and I also relate to the fact of like wanting to do so much because you're just full of and brimming with ideas, but you just can't execute them that you want to because life is just like, sit the fuck down, Charlie, sit down. You
Literally.
know. Hmm.
No, that's also what I've been thinking is maybe I've got MS because I was like pushing my body too much, and that's why it was so bad because it was like my body was getting tired of who I was. So I was like, Charlie, just stop. Pretty much, yeah. That's my
You know
thought.
what? I'd love to do a poll of that because I think that too. Like I was doing fashion, like the craziness that I was doing was ridiculous. And I think it is our internal system trying to protect ourselves from ourselves.
Literally, yeah, pretty much. And what better
Yeah.
way than to eat your own nerves, basically?
We literally have nerve at the highest level. We want to eat them.
That is
Our
it.
own internal vampires. Fair enough.
Ooh, I like that.
So,
That's
you're
pretty
gonna,
cool.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Draw me a face that's a vampire. I'll be into that. Um,
Look,
you
I need
have
to
to
write
go.
that down because my brain
I'm
will
gonna
just.
write it down. I love that. Everyone, you heard it here first. Charlie's gonna draw me a vampire. If he doesn't follow through, the whole community's coming with me. I don't.
Please
Do not send any hate to Charlie.
bring it on.
Okay, so I have one last question for you. What are your hopes for the future?
Ooh, that's a good one. Hmm. Well, at the moment, I'm trying to make my brand.
Love that.
So maybe I just want to help as many people as I can, really, because after what I went through, I'm like, oh my days. People go
Yeah.
through this every day, and I'm like, bloody hell. I need to help people.
Well, your journey is starting and it's a beautiful journey, and I think you have a lot of potential and a lot of space to create a lot of change in the community.
Thank you.
not only as someone that's gone through HSCT, but someone who's male, someone that's
I
highly
think
artistic, people will relate to a lot, and you do it with humour and class, and we love that about you, Charlie. So
Wicked.
thank you for being here today, and thank you for sharing your story, because I don't think enough people like yourself actually share any part of themselves with the universe. For those of people that don't know you, how do they find Charlie if they want to follow Charlie's artistic journey?
Well, it's quite a long one, but it's monocle underscore sloth underscore media, or just monocle underscore sloth. Yeah,
And it's on Instagram, right?
that's it. That's it.
I will put that in the show notes for everyone so you can follow Charlie directly and have a look, because, like my Instagram name, it's so long. I don't expect people to remember it. But if you want to follow Charlie's journey, see what he's up to, buy some art, hire him for some art, it will be below you. But yeah, thank you for everything, Charlie. I
Wow.
appreciate you, and I appreciate your time on the Sick and Sickening podcast.